guys, the Benidorm Enthusiast here, and today I'm going to be going through a couple of things that I know are concerning some of you that have got plans to travel to Spain this year. Talking about the EES and the ETIAS. These are two different but linked tools that will be used in the future to strengthen European border security. We've done a few videos on these already, but it seems some people haven't got their heads quite round it yet. So I'll be going over both the EES and the ETIAS briefly today, but most importantly, giving you an update on when they may be brought in. And also some interesting news about Alicante Airport, which is linked to the changes in travel requirements as well. So let's start with the EES. This is the European Union's entry-exit system. It will be an automated system designed to register non-EU travellers entering and exiting the Schengen area. This is the system that will collect biometric data such as your fingerprints and facial images alongside passport details, replacing the traditional practice of manual passport stamping. This initiative aims to enhance border security, streamline immigration processes and accurately monitor the duration of stays to prevent overstay violations. The EES has been talked about for years and years now. It's been in the works for a long time. But there have been multiple delays due to technical challenges and concerns about border congestion. Basically, the technology and logistics are just not ready, and every time a date has been set, it's been pushed back and the implementation rescheduled. It was initially meant to come into force in 2022, then launch date was pushed back to 2023, then November 10th, 2024, and then in October last year they delayed it indefinitely and didn't even bother to give a new date. They just said it would be a phased rollout at some point this year, 2025. Well, latest news is that we do now have a new date when they think the EES is going to be ready, and that is October 2025. Still planned to be a staggered implementation, and it also seems now that it will be slightly more relaxed, at least to start with anyway. Initially, it was planned that every non-EU national crossing a Schengen border would have to provide fingerprints and facial biometrics the first time they entered the zone after the EES was in play. Now it seems that they'll be launching a watered-down system which will only require one or the other, fingerprints or facial biometrics, and not both. I guess the thinking that this will get the ball rolling kind of thing without having such a drastic negative effect on travel. So what do you need to do in preparation for the launch of the EES? Well, you don't need to do anything beforehand. This is the system that will be in place at the airports. Nothing to apply for, there's nothing to register for or anything like that, but you do need to be aware that you will be required to give your fingerprints and or facial biometrics at border security if you are a non-EU national entering the Schengen zone. Automated systems such as e-gates will be utilised to expedite the entry and exit processes. So just be aware of that, and be aware as a traveller you may experience longer processing times during the initial implementation phase as both travellers and border officials adapt to the new procedures. October 2025, mark that date down, and let's wait and see if it actually happens this time. I don't think I'll be holding my breath, to be honest with you. On to the ETIAS now, which is the European Travel Information and Authorization System. ETIAS is another EU initiative which is again aimed at enhancing European security, but also aims to streamline the entry process for travellers from visa-exempt countries. ETIAS is essentially a visa waiver and will be required for non-EU citizens from countries which don't require a visa for short visits. So that includes the UK, USA, Australia, amongst others, who are coming for a short stay. It's an online travel authorisation which will be needed before visiting Schengen area countries. This measure seeks to pre-screen visitors, thereby bolstering border management and security within the EU. Now, I can understand why a lot of people have been getting confused between the EES and the ETIAS. They're both EU border management tools, but they do serve distinct purposes. The EES focus on recording the entry and exit of non-EU nationals, capturing biometric data such as facial images and fingerprints at border crossings to monitor and manage short-term stays within the Schengen area. The ETIAS targets travellers from visa-exempt countries, mandating an online application before travel. It collects personal and travel information to assess security risks before granting authorisation. The other main difference is that the EES is a system at the airport, no need to do anything beforehand, whereas the ETIAS will need to be applied for before travelling. Again, with the ETIAS, there have been several launch delays. Initially it was 2020, then 2022, 23, 24, 25. Year after year it's been pushed back. Latest news this month is that they expect ETIAS to be operational in the last quarter of 2026, next year, so a full year after the EES, if the EES actually happens this time, that is. So you definitely don't need to worry about ETIAS this year, but for when or if it does happen one day, you'll be required to complete an online application, provide personal details, travel information and passport data, and that will be done through the official ETIAS website or mobile app. You'll have to pay an application fee, which will be €7, applicable to everyone aged 18 to 70. If you're outside of that age bracket, you'll still need to complete the ETIAS. Obviously, parents or guardians can do it for under 18s, but outside of the 18 to 70 age bracket, they will be exempt from the €7 fee, and payments will be made using various online payment methods. After that, it's just a case of waiting for authorisation. Most applications are expected to be processed promptly. Once approved, the ETIAS authorisation will be valid for 3 years or until the associated passport expires. Okay, so that's those two things covered. Ultimately for this year, you don't have anything to worry about. Just be aware that the EES may be implemented in October, and so the process at the airport may be different, but you don't need to do anything beforehand. On to a quick mention of the recent news about Alicante Airport, because obviously a lot of you guys watching will be flying into Alicante, and I know people are worried about how the airports are going to cope with all these changes. Well, good news for Alicante is that they're planning an extension and remodelling of the airport. Last year there were a record number of travellers arriving at Alicante Airport, some 18 million people. The proposed extension would allow an increase to approximately 26 million people able to pass through the airport, extending and updating many services and facilities. And I don't think we'll see work start on this in any time in the near future. It's still in the very early days of planning, but down the line we should have ourselves an absolutely fantastic airport here that will be able to handle all this new tech being thrown at it, no problems, hopefully. They're also pushing for a second runway at the Alicante Airport, but so far that's been ruled out by the government. Alright guys, that's it from me today. I hope you've enjoyed this video and found it useful. Let us know in the comments, and if you have any questions you can ask me in the comments too, and I'll do my best to answer them for you. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos, and also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, X and TikTok at the Benidorm Enthusiast. Stay positive and stay safe.